Oh, okay, well, I just called the meeting to order. Do we have a quorum?
Yes.
Usually Melissa.
Have 7 members. I can see 7. I don't see them. I don't think I see them. Jesse, is everyone showing? Yes, it does appear we have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Thank you very
We
much.
do have a quorum, Madam Chair. Sorry.
Right. Okay, let's do introductions. Jody, do you want to start?
Yes, good morning. I would like to introduce our newest staff member to the PPACG, Dolly Moncada. She is here with us in the room today. Dolly, would you come and stand at the podium so those who are not not in the room can see you? Just stand right there. Are we seeing her
No.
on screen? There
Yeah.
we go. Thank you. So Dolly Moncada is our new administrative assistant. She'll be working here downstairs in the lobby. As some of you may recall, we moved the upstairs large front desk to the Chestnut Street entry. And so you will start to see some new processes and procedures for both security, safety, and tracking for us for our different meetings. And so Dolly just started this week. If you'd like to say hi, Dolly, or say a few things.
Hello, I'm Dolly. I'm glad to be joining the team and I'm excited to get things started. And I really appreciate all your patience as I learn the ropes.
Thank you. Dolly will be working with Lucy. Those of you who know Lucy is our information and assistance coordinator, as well as Jessica Bechtel, our office manager. So Dolly's responsibilities are not just with the AAA, but with the entire PPACG organization and agency wide. So we welcome her. I'm very excited to have her here. So thanks, Dolly.
Thanks,
you.
Dolly.
One of the things that you will notice is that we especially those of you who are coming into the building for meetings, we want to remind you to sign in, include your mileage for us. That's to and from your location. That all is very helpful for our own in-kind match and procedures. For security and for safety, we're also asking that you initial by your name on the way out. So that's a new little twist. And so bear with us as we put some of these new processes and procedures into place. Thank you, B.
Okay. Well, I'm Bee Babbitt, the chair of the RAC. We'll go around the room. Rosemary?
Hi, I'm Rosemary Claudio with the Alzheimer's Association.
Make sure your microphone is on for us, for the folks on the little mouth.
Okay, sorry about that, Rosemary Claudio with the Alzheimer's Association.
Bill Bowles from Park County.
And we have online, let's see, Chris?
Chris, I'm here. I still cannot really hear the audio from, I didn't hear Bill or I didn't hear anybody.
Okay, we'll work on that. We have
Okay.
Eric.
Yes, good morning. Eric Bidwell with the Department of Human Services here in El Paso County.
Carol.
Carol Parks, Teller County. Good morning, everyone.
Jennifer.
Good morning, Jen Nemo with Colorado Community Health Alliance.
Let's see. In the room, we have several staff members, but I don't see any members of the public today. Is there anybody behind that column? No, okay, no members of the public with us in the building today. However, we do have Melissa Martz, Dolly Mancata, Laura Cruz, Melody Dowell, Jessica McMullen, and Jesse Duncan. Thank you. Just drew a blank there. So thank you.
And I see online we have Cynthia Argiata, Jason De Bueno, and Cindy. Okay. And then we have someone on the phone. Is that Elaine?
Elaine, yes, ma'am.
Okay, welcome everyone. Appreciate your
Good morning.
attendance. Okay, our first items. First, our agenda. Are there any changes that someone proposes? Hearing none, we'll go on to the minutes from our June 24th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to our minutes? Hearing none, is there a motion to accept the agenda and the minutes? Can you turn on your,
Bill Bowles, I move we accept.
thank you, Bill. Is there a second? Marilyn Bradish seconds. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, say nay. The ayes have it and the agenda and minutes are approved. Are there public comments?
Madam Chair, I did not receive any advance of the meeting. We do have one public comment through Melissa Martz, our staff member.
Melissa?
Hi, everybody. This is Melissa, the Program Development Administrator. And I just wanted to bring to everyone's attention a resource that I learned about the other day. And I have a strong suspicion that Marilyn and the membership committee might be working on this some more. Once she hears about it, she'll be very excited, as will Elaine. So AARP has a program called Wish of a Lifetime. I don't know how many people have ever heard of Wish of a Lifetime. But what happened in 2003, Olympic skier Jeremy Bloom from Colorado started a foundation in honor of his grandmother to grant wishes for older adults, kind of like the Make-A-Wish Foundation, except this is for older adults. And so he used that money over the years and granted wishes. And then in 2013, AARP took it over as a program from AARP. And they have been doing this program since 2013. They grant over 300 wishes a year, and they could grant many, many, many more. And not very many people know about it, as I'm seeing from people in the room kind of nodding their head saying, yeah, I haven't heard of it. And so just wanted to get the word out about it today. And I have some flyers for people who are in the room, and I'll try to remember to send some things through email to folks. There are 4 criteria for the Wish of a Lifetime program. And so basically the 4 criteria, and there are 4 categories, it's not criteria, but 4 categories. And so does the older adult, want to renew and celebrate passions that they have gotten out of touch with, connect with, past friends, re-engage with interests, activities, and hobbies. So that's 1. Connecting with loved ones directly. So if people are having a hard time reconnecting with a loved one, that can be a wish of a lifetime. Some type of a commemoration service for people who are in the military. And so something that makes sense for that population. And then the last one is fulfilling lifelong dreams. And so literally it just could be a lifelong dream that somebody has had to do something. So pretty easy to apply. And they turn applications and answers around apparently very quickly. And again, the person does have to, or the nominating person does have to say why the individual really couldn't do this on their own, in terms of whether they, are in a wheelchair and maybe would have a hard time, getting around and paying for transportation to get where they need to go. So they could really use some extra money to make that happen. If it's a person who has, enough of an estate and enough of, a financial means to make things happen, they're probably not going to get their wish of a lifetime granted. But that's not for sure either. And of course, AARP, what's in it for them? They're looking for really great stories to tell out in the world. So, but that's really the only, kind of catch to it. So really neat program, and just want to get the word out about it because it's pretty unheard of, I think. And they did do a search to see when was the last time our region actually submitted or even received a wish of a lifetime. It's been years. And it was one, the assisted living community that's up by Bear Creek up on the hill. That was the entity that actually received a couple of different wish of a lifetime granting, but nobody else in our region in years has gotten anything. So wanted to share that
Is
with
there an
everybody.
age range, Melissa?
Is there an age frame, an age range? It is
Yes.
65 and over. So good question.
Okay.
Yep, 65 and over.
Okay, yeah, this is Elaine. If you could send me something on it, that would be great.
Great. I will, Elaine. Great. Good to hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. You too.
Okay, well, thank you for that information. I'm sure that we'll want to follow up on that. And you said you were going to send out that information to the members. Wonderful. Thanks, Melissa. Okay, then we're excited to have our provider presentation, Teller County Senior Coalition.
And this is Kathy. I'm here. Good morning. And I did send over a slide presentation. I don't know if you guys can put that up and help me with that since I'm very untechy.
I think it's going up right now for you,
There
Carol.
we go. All
Or
right. Thank
Kathy.
you. All right. And you guys can hear me okay?
Yes, thank you.
All right, great. Well, so the Teller Senior Coalition, we provide services to seniors in Teller County. And we are celebrating 25 years of service, which you see there in our banner along with our name. So if you want to move forward. So we were started in 1996 when Teller County stopped providing some meal services to seniors. Two wonderful ladies started the Teller Senior Coalition, and we thank them every day. And again, we're celebrating 25 years, which we're very excited about. So moving on. So our mission is to provide services to Teller County senior citizens to enable them to live healthy, active, and independent lives. This mission statement used to be a little different. It used to say to enable them to live full, active, and independent lives. But in 2020, I think like every other organization, we realized just about everything we do helps seniors stay healthy. So we made a minor change to our mission statement. The statement that our services enable them to live healthy, active, and independent lives. Because again, when you think about providing food, providing transportation to medical appointments, keeping seniors home clean, providing grab bars, all of those things keep seniors healthy. So we thought it was important to acknowledge that focus of our services. Okay. Moving on. So we had a huge increase in the number of clients we served. Not surprising, to be honest, with everything going on in 2020. So the number of clients increased over 25%. And we primarily serve seniors 60 and plus in Teller County, but we do provide some transportation to those in the sort of the western El Paso and eastern Park County borders. Because it doesn't make sense to not transport somebody that lives basically across the street from the county line. So we try to, not have seniors disadvantaged by geographical boundaries. So anyway, huge increase in clients helped. And again, with everything that went on last year, that's not surprising. Okay. So I just wanted to share a few of the statements that we receive from clients. I think almost every day I'm getting a letter or something from a senior expressing their gratitude for us and the things that we do for them. And that was more true during COVID than typical. And, basically the communication we received from seniors was, we appreciate what you're doing to keep us safe and healthy during the pandemic. And these are just a few of those statements that we've picked out to share with you. Okay. So just sort of put an overview of our basic services. So transportation, we do home delivered meals, case management counseling, we provide respite for caregivers. We have a handyman who will install grab bars, ramps, or railings. We'll provide light housekeeping for those seniors who can no longer keep their homes clean. So we have a pretty broad list of services to help our seniors with. And again, as you look at these services, even when we take a senior to, a social event, all of these services do promote the health of the senior. And that's just a focus that we realized so critically in 2020. Okay. So an additional thing that we do this winter, seniors had been isolated for quite a bit of time. A lot of seniors didn't have families nearby. So they were, pretty isolated from families, friends. We put together winter packages with games and puzzles and all sorts of things to keep them busy and entertained, to try to lessen that sense of isolation that we know many of them are feeling. And then another thing that we do, helping our the Woodland Park Senior Center, sort of an organization we work a lot with. We bring their lunches up for the Senior Center members. Those lunches are provided by Silver Key. And we think that project has worked out well, and we're glad we were able to help out the Senior Center and keep their lunch program continuing. Okay. So here's just a few of the things we did during the pandemic. So probably immediately seniors didn't want to go to the store. They needed help with groceries. So we delivered food, toiletries, medications to seniors. Thanks to PPACG, and I cannot tell you how much seniors loved this program where we provided restaurant meals to seniors. Because really starting in March of last year, they were just eating frozen food or canned food, and I think that would get a little old for all of us. So thanks to this group, we were able to get them restaurant meals. They got one probably every other third week, because we rotated them, rotated in the county. But they loved it, and they looked forward to it. I mean, they would call, "When's my lunch coming? What time are you going to be here with my lunch?" It was just a great program, and I thank you for being creative enough to support that. We did a lot of calling out to seniors. We created calling groups among seniors to give them someone to talk to besides us. And so I think that helped with this whole issue that we all were so aware of them feeling so isolated. And again, our efforts to reach out to seniors expanded as we just wanted to be sure that they had what they needed, that they weren't lacking anything. So, I think our communication with our seniors was at a very high level, and I think that was needed for what was happening at the time. Okay. So we created a program in 2020 that we called Neighbors Helping Seniors. And the idea was to create a pool of volunteers to help seniors with things that they can no longer do. Most seniors are not able to shovel their sidewalks or their driveways. They're not physically able to do yard work. Some have problems with grocery shopping. So, some can't change light bulbs, the ones that are really high up. So we created a pool of volunteers. I think we have about 15 volunteers now that we tap into this pool of volunteers to help seniors with these tasks. And, this all started because we just had so many calls from seniors saying, hey, I really need somebody to do this, or I need somebody to do that. How can you help? And we realized that there was this huge gap in, services that seniors were able to take advantage of. So I think this program, again, we just started it in September, which probably wasn't the greatest time to start when we're sort of in the middle of the pandemic still, but we thought it was important. We went ahead with it. And it is a growing program and very appreciated by our seniors. Okay. So we have two new programs. The Energy Outreach is, we're working with Colorado Energy Outreach to assist seniors who maybe run out of funds to cover their heat bill, or maybe they need a supply of wood. Many seniors in Taylor County, that's their sole source of heat, wood. So that's a critical thing. If they run low on wood, they could run out of heat. So this program just sort of expands our ability to make sure that seniors are able to live, independently in their homes for as long as possible, which is all of our goal. And then we began in this year, 2021, we're providing our low-income seniors with a food box from the USDA through CareShare, and that program is being very well received, and seniors really appreciate that extra nutrition, to keep them in the necessary food supplies that they need. Okay. So just a quick overview of our financials for 2020. I mean, we did benefit from COVID funding, like I'm sure a lot of other nonprofits that supported seniors. So, that was good because we had a lot of other things we needed to do. We had a lot of expenses related to our vehicles and keeping seniors safe. So the additional funding was very well received. But we are seeing now that funding is pretty much normalizing. And again, we thank PPACG and the RAC for their support to make sure we keep our seniors safe. Okay. So we have a pretty strong pool of volunteers, many of them in that Neighbors Helping Seniors program. And then you see there the number of hours that they volunteered in 2020, probably not as many, because there was sort of a reduction in volunteer support during the pandemic, but picking back up again, which we really appreciate. And many thanks to our volunteers, because no nonprofit can do what they do without the strong volunteer base that they have. Okay. So a couple of things I wanted to communicate. The Teller Senior Coalition was named the Nonprofit of the Year by the Woodland Park Chamber of Commerce, and that was in recognition of all of our efforts keeping seniors safe through COVID. And then we also were awarded the Human Service Agency of the Year by the Colorado Association of Transit Agencies. So a couple of honors and recognition of the hard work that we put in. Not everyone at TSC, all of our volunteers. Our total focus was keeping our seniors safe, and I think for the most part, we did a pretty good job. Okay. And again, it all goes back to who supports you. Do you have the resources that you need to do what you need to do? I mean, I think the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments and the RAC were just so supportive. We're so creative in how you supported us. And, kudos to all of you, because I think the results would have been very different for our seniors without this, high level of support. So I can't say thank you enough. All of our staff thanks you, and volunteers. It was just, we feel like we're coming out on the other end of this, but it was just a tremendous effort, and I can't thank everyone enough. Okay, and then just a little bit of information on some of our supporters. And a big thank you again to everyone for doing all that you do to support us. And support, particularly and support the seniors that we are so passionate about taking care of in Teller County. So I think that's it. I'll say a big thank you. That's the next slide, and see if there's any questions.
This is Chris from Park County, the Seniors Alliance of Platte Canyon. Kathy, how are you? Sounds like, as usual, you're doing a wonderful job. I do have a question. How did you guys come across the USDA food box program? Was that something you did outreach for yourself, or did they contact you?
So actually, Karen Scher in the Springs, Colorado Springs, reached out to us to see if we would be interested in that program. And we, of course, obviously we were. And Chris, I think I have your email. I'll email you who we're working with on that. I don't know that they go to Park County, but hopefully we could work something out to help you with that.
Thanks, Kathy. I appreciate that.
Other questions? I just want to congratulate you on those 2 wonderful awards. I know how hard you work, and it's nice once in a while to be acknowledged for your staff and volunteers for the great work that you do. Other questions? Bill?
I'll put on my Park County Senior Coalition hat now, and thank you for the cooperation we've had with you.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Hi, Kathy, it's Jody. I want to put credit where credit is due, really. That restaurant program that Kathy described, as you might imagine, there were a lot of calls between providers and PPACG during 2020. And I always knew when some of the providers would call and say, Jody, we want to run something by you, that there was an interesting conversation about to happen. And this was one that Kathy presented to me. And, how would this work? How can we make this happen? Really demonstrated the need. And these folks were getting meals, but again, this is about quality of life, and if we asked each of you to plan on eating only dried foods, canned goods, never going out, not having a hot meal that wasn't cooked by yourself for an extended amount of time, I think we would all be appreciative of this program. So Kathy, I just wanted to throw that out and let the RAC board know that that really comes back to you and your staff in presenting that as an opportunity. And of course, 876 meals, I think you showed, that is hopefully was also a help to the economy there, because I know it also edged into the Park County side as well. So I just wanted to thank Kathy and Teller Senior Coalition for their creativity, and in particular as well the calling groups around seniors. All organizations were very, very shorthanded during 2020, and as we continue on in the time of COVID precautions, I think building out an opportunity where the seniors could collaborate and work together, and these calling groups amongst the seniors. I know there's several other providers who did that as well with some of the reassurance calls. I just want to thank you so much for engaging folks. People really needed to have a purpose, even if they were in lockdown. And so Kathy, thanks again for all that you do there for Teller County seniors. We appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate that. And, by the way, on the restaurant meals, it was actually on 60 Minutes that New York City did it. And I was like, well, if New York City can do it, so can Woodland Park. So we figured it out. So thank you, because you helped make that happen.
Absolutely, our pleasure.
And Kathy, just out of curiosity, Was that something that was only funded by COVID dollars, or is that something that could be continued into the future?
I don't know, Jody. What's the answer to that question?
Oh, I put you on the spot, Jody. I'm sorry.
You know, actually, now that that in particular was with COVID CARES Act and Family First Act dollars. So we were fortunate to have additional funds come in and a lot of flexibility around those funds, and we're able to use that. I see now that this is a program that has shown good progress, that we could probably continue with that based on whatever the changes will be coming around. You know, right now we're still under the major disaster declaration at the federal and FEMA level, which give us the continued flexibility, even with our standard Older Americans Act dollars. So I think the conversation can be held open for a while right now. So Kathy, keep that in the back of your mind as we move into the fall and winter, and we'll see how that all plays out.
I will, for sure. Thank you.
Okay.
Very good. Well, thank you again, Kathy. We sure appreciate your presentation and all the work you do for seniors. We're going to move on then to Maryland membership.
One of which will lead to our discussion items. I sent out an email.
If Marilyn is speaking, I cannot hear her. This is
I was
Chris.
just about to say the same thing. Carol Parks can't hear anything.
Might have to project a little more. It's on. It's on.
No. Carol or Chris, can you give some feedback to Marilyn?
I still
We
can't
haven't
hear
heard
her.
anything.
I can barely hear her in the background.
Potentially, she needs to go up to the podium, Jody.
Can you hear me now?
No, it's like it's muted in the background as if you're
Okay, thank you. We may have a bad mic. Marilyn, would you try the one next door to you there? Bear with us a moment. Fortunately, IT is in the room, so they're making a note of that.
Is this better?
Okay, I get a big.
I guess it was probably
Okay,
the
good.
mic then.
It was definitely the mic. We can hear you now.
Okay,
Yes,
wonderful. I'm
Thank
glad
you, Marilyn.
spoke up
Thank you.
about it. Yes, a couple of items today regarding membership, one of which we will leave for the discussion items regarding membership per se, that I sent out an email to everyone this week. Hopefully you got a chance to think of some things as we are members wanting to become involved with the RAC. So we'll do that in discussion items. But as far as membership is concerned, of course, we are always looking for trying to recruit, finding members that will join the RAC. I'm going to have a discussion with Rosemary Jaramillo here, who is joining us, and we'll, what an asset that will be. And we continue our movement forward on our underrepresented communities. Now we have established kind of a brown bag lunch kind of thing where members are invited. There's a kind of a core group of us who are coming together to really discuss the equity and try to recruit the underrepresented populations. So the next meeting for that will be July 26th here at noon. Bring a brown bag lunch and we'll have an hour's discussion to just, discuss more items, caregiving items, whatever regarding our underrepresented populations. And we still have the number of items coming up or events coming up that can be inclusive, where members could volunteer to be part of these events, passing out yellow books, just answering questions, just seeing if there's anyone out there with questions that has no idea what AAA does, what the RAC does, and hopefully just making ourselves out there about this. So we're continuing to do that. If anyone has anyone in mind, of course, we're always looking for people in Falcon, Peyton, other areas of Colorado Springs to represent those areas as well. So we'll continue with some of the discussion items at discussion time. Thanks.
Thanks, Marilyn. Jen, do we have anything from the SRS?
Currently, no new updates. Melissa is working on a document for us, and we will be meeting in August to review that and report out in September.
Okay, so we'll look for that meeting notice and the other document in the near future. Thank you. Turn to Jody then for our AAA Directors Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's such a pleasure to be with you today and get to see you all. Just wanted to run through a few highlights, kind of to piggyback off of the conversation we just had with Kathy. There is still some additional stimulus funding coming into the region specifically for aging and adult services. You may be familiar or hearing the American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA funds. Those are still being determined at the state. The amount is known, but beginning timeline is yet unclear. There are some technical issues around funding and match required at the state level, and so that has not made its way to the individual AAAs around the state yet, but do know that that is coming. The nice thing about the ARPA funds, it is a multi-year fund, while the fund amount will not extend across but the usage will extend across at least 2 years and potentially 3. And so we hope to know more about that, the parameters, the usage allowances, that kind of thing, sometime this fall. So more to come on that as we know more. I also want to piggyback a little bit on Marilyn's comments around outreach opportunities. In fact, I believe Melissa put a stack of these handouts for those of you who are in the room, but also if you're not here with us today and would like that by email, we'd love to give that to you. It's a real simple highlight of the 2 aging committees that we have here, the Regional Advisory Council, of course, and then also our Pikes Peak Commission on Aging. I would say that even though Marilyn and her group are the chair in the committee, membership is really a responsibility of every RAC committee, because your committee member, your circle of influence, as it's known, differentiates from your neighbors and from those across the table. And so if you come across someone, you happen to have this, you think of them in a meeting, you want to pop this to them, hand it to them, I would really encourage you to follow that up, make some connections. It may be a connection that you already know. Get that information to Marilyn. She'll do the legwork on that, she and her committee, but we would really encourage you to do that, because we want to make sure that we're representing our full community through these committees, so that the voice of our aging population is heard based on the work that's being done by these two organizations. So really encourage you to, even if you're not on that committee, to share potential connections with Marilyn and her team. Right now, we're actually in the last day of the National Association of Area Agencies on Aging, or otherwise known as N4A conference, annual conference. It is being held virtually again this year. And so we will be, everything is recorded or being recorded as they go through some of the live sessions. And we as staff members will have access to that through the end of November. the staff and I will be putting together some opportunities, viewing parties, as it were, where we can invite members of the RAC, members of the Commission on Aging, to come in and watch particular topics. So be watching for emails from us around that. We want to make it worth your time, and ultimately make it worth our registration time and dollars to make sure that as many of our participants have the opportunity to enjoy that. There have been a lot of intense topics this year as 2020 has passed us, but COVID is still with us, and how we reach out to our population, how we serve our population. There are conversations from very specific combating social isolation, which I don't think will ever go away, but that COVID has given us an opportunity to reevaluate how we serve our community around social isolation, but really getting also all the way to some of those harder topics, like social engagement and elder justice. And so there are a lot of really good and challenging topics with this year's conference. So be watching for information from us on that. We don't know yet just the technical side, if we can only do that live or if we might be able to share it by Zoom, but we'll figure out those details and let you know with plenty of notice, because they are recorded. And so we'll give you plenty of notice to be able to plan to join us if at all possible on that. I did mention some new procedures we're going to be implementing, sign in and sign out at the front. We're just thinking around safety. So even if you're a guest and you sign in, please make sure that you sign out on your way out. If you're a committee member, make sure that you sign in and sign out again. If we find ourselves in an emergency situation, our plan is to grab that list and make sure you're with us when we're outside. So it's all around safety. We want to make sure that you're all aware of that. Of course, be in mind that it's a process in process. And so bear with us and be patient with us, and Dolly in particular, who's going to be flagging you down at the front if you don't sign in. So bear with us on that. And then just ongoing thanks for the support of the RAC and the subcommittees as we are moving into this new state fiscal year. The funding is always a challenging conversation, and I want to point out Melody Dow, our programs coordinator and contract specialist. She is up to her eyeballs in wrapping up contracts with our providers. So that will be soon. And for those of you who are providers on the phone with us today, your funding is effective July 1st. And so don't be holding off, provide those services, and we will have everything in place ready for you. So I'm open to questions. Otherwise, my report is finished.
Are there any questions for Jody? Hearing none, I'll go on to my report. I'm going to share my screen. I've never done this before here. We'll see. Okay, so continue. Let's see if this can happen. Test up. Share. Oh my goodness, they're making it so complicated. Do you know how to?
Well, let's see, let's back down to there.
Okay, share my
Share
screen.
screen.
This will stop other screen sharing.
All right, which
Go to
screen
my
do you want?
desktop. I
Okay,
assume.
go ahead there. Well, then you're just sharing this. So what we want to do is find the actual page.
Thank you for your patience. We're trying to, guess I should have practiced ahead of time.
So, desktop.
It's this document.
Okay, perfect. So now hit desktop and share. Let's see if that takes care of it. Hit share down here.
It's shared on here. And then it gets me to go to system preferences.
Okay. So,
Okay, well, I'll have to talk through it then. Okay. What one of the things I like to think about in terms of the RAC is the big picture. And so I looked at the population estimates in our 3 counties, in Teller, Park, and El Paso County. And we don't have the 2020 2020 figures yet, but so they're estimates from 2019. But anyway, one of the things I looked at was what is the population of 65 plus seniors in the various counties. For example, the population of Teller County is 25,388, and 23.2% of those are seniors 65 and over. When you think about that, that's almost 25%. That's almost 1 in 4 residents of Teller County are seniors. So it gives you some sense of the extent of need that might be there in Teller County. Park
Hey,
County.
Dee?
Pardon?
I just wanted to throw in that it was only like 12% in 2010. So
Whoa.
it's really
Okay.
growing.
Yeah, really growing. The senior population's really growing. Then we look at Park County population, approximately 18,845, with 21.6% 65 or over. Now, I realize that we serve 60 plus, but sometimes you have to deal with the numbers people give you.
Hey, Bea, this is Chris from Seniors Alliance. I have a question for you. We have different numbers depending on whether you're talking about the Platte Canyon area and or Park County. We have a 47 to 52% that fall within the age of 50 to 75. So those numbers are quite a bit different than what we've seen versus from CHIP and other numbers. So speculatively,
it
go
really
ahead.
does. Yeah, it really does differ depending upon which, you put that 50 to 65 age group in there, you're going to increase it by quite a bit. But anyway, based on these particular numbers that come from the Census Bureau, they've got a 21.6% 65 plus population in Park County, which now you think about that, that's 1 in 5. So Bill is, you're talking about 1 in 5 seniors there. And then we go to El Paso County with a population approximately 720,000 strong. And here we have 13.2% who are 65 or over. So quite a difference in terms of percentage of the population that are seniors. However, when we turn to the issue of persons in poverty in each of these counties, it's somewhat similar. Teller County, approximately 7.9% persons in poverty. Park County, 8.6%, and El Paso County, 8.8%. So somewhat similar in a percentage of individuals in poverty. Now, of course, many of the services for seniors, when you think about it, they're needed despite your income. For example, transportation oftentimes is needed, and you can't drive anymore. You need transportation no matter what your income might be. I'm thinking of the Medicare counseling that's done here at through our SHIP counselors. You know, many seniors need some assistance in trying to figure out what's the best plan for them. Caregiver assistance, if you have vision problems. So there are many seniors beyond that group that have difficulty with their income. And so I'm just for today, I just wanted to give you that sort of overview. And I suppose the questions I asked myself: to what degree do our services meet the needs of these populations? Where are the gaps? And are we closing the gaps? And I'll just let it go at that for today. And next time, I hope to look a little closer at some of the data related to our underrepresented populations. Okay. We're going to move on to our discussion items. Do you want to, I think Marilyn sent out some questions to you regarding, you know, how does RAC fit within your agenda, I guess, your individual agenda? I'll let Marilyn go ahead and ask some of the, well, maybe one question at a time.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt. This is Jen. Would you mind sharing that information that you were the screen share? Would you mind sharing that with the board members, please?
Absolutely. I've got it in a PDF form and I can attach it to an email.
That'd be very helpful. I really appreciate that research. Thank you so much, Bea.
Sure enough. Thank you.
Marilyn, I'm sorry, let me interrupt. This is Chris Marie Larson from Platte Canyon, Park County.
Yes.
General statement. We have moved forward with quite a bit. We were really on a big roll before COVID. Obviously, like everyone else, it set us behind. We've moved forward quite a bit because of some of the recognition we've gotten. We've had a lot of new things move into our purview. One of the things recently we've been asked again to be involved in the non-health fair, which was very successful for us. Is the second time. It'll be the third time that it's been in the Bailey area, but we had such a good response last time. They've asked us again. But that said, as far as what the RAC does, I think my first year on the RAC, we were asked to produce a letter as far as what we saw as a direction for the RAC, concerns for the RAC, and general questions for the RAC. And it got a lot of really good response from the board members. We moved forward. The staff of the RAC is very proactive in answering questions. I'm very happy anytime there's a phone call. What I see is the same issue, and it's probably going to be that way for a long time. It seems to be that most of the movement to do anything happens actually within our county, not within the other larger counties, because we get notifications all the time of what happens in El Paso County. Can we come and help in El Paso County? Teller, obviously, Kathy does a fantastic job of integrating the support system, and it does bleed into Park County. But I do still think there is more that can be done proactively, and we are trying to do our part more and more. And I understand the gap of what happens between the availability of services here and the people to do them, and the difference between us and El Paso. But I just want to make a statement of, please be aware of, we fit that rural component, which is supposed to be a large issue within the Older Americans Act. We fit it very strongly, and I will make the plea, as I always do. Rural counties are still not given enough recognition or support. And I understand it looks good on paper when services are utilized for anything that comes from the state or the federal government, but just be aware of that. And I know that's kind of a general plea, but there's a lot of praise, but I think a lot more can be done.
Okay. Yeah, I think, people in Park County and Teller County, you're kind of like your own entity. You have, things going on within your communities that you are addressing. And I have to say, Chris, you and Bill and just attend to these things so much. You're so proactive for your counties there. And it's amazing. Generally speaking about other RAC members, your service is so important to us. We just want to know that you feel good about being a member of the RAC, or what things you see the need that the RAC can do for you, and what you can do for the RAC. Do you need more education on what committees do, like the TRC and Jen with the 4-year plan? Do you want to see more guest speakers talking about, elderly issues? Just general questions about you as members feeling fulfilled on the RAC, and what you'd like to see from it, and what you'd like to become involved with, because that's why we're here, is to become involved with what we feed into the area agency and, our plan moving forward. So I think it's just like not a rah talk, but just we appreciate every single person, and just want to know if there's things that you need answers to, or would like to see more presentation about, just those kinds of things.
Are there comments by any member?
I would say that I've been a RAC member for, I think, about a year or so now, pretty close to. And I think, I've worked in the Department of Human Services system in a few different states for over 15 years. And I've been here in El Paso County for about 5 years. And there's a lot of resources, opportunities, and organizations that work in this area in the entire Pikes Peak region that I wasn't even aware of prior to becoming a RAC member. So I feel like it's been really helpful to me to hear about some of the programs that have been happening, some of the organizations, and learning about the specific programs that they offer to the community in the area. I think that it helps me be able to relay that information back to our DHS, our county DHS entity, which is pretty substantial locally. And also to help coordinate on a greater scale with like PPACG and other groups that are consistently looking for additional resources, help, assistance, and other things that they can tap into or utilize for the greater population of the entire region. And I also, so I say all that to say I really enjoy the provider presentations on what it is they're doing and what types of things they're able to offer. And I guess to a certain extent to the point of the more rural counties and needing to still push services out that direction so they have the opportunities and options that we potentially could take for granted in El Paso County, just having so many resources. There's an opportunity there when those things happen for conversation to begin and services to potentially be extended. And when we hear about what's happening, it may be something that currently happens in El Paso County only, but there's always an opportunity then at that same time to say, hey, like, we could use this out further. We could use this. Is there a way that we could potentially extend this? And I feel that the provider presentations offer that opportunity, if not already, to expand potentially. And so I felt that's been super helpful to me, and has been helpful to the staff that I then work with at DHS afterwards. So
That's great to hear, Eric. Like, one thing that you're gaining from being a RAC member is that you bring back to DHS things that you're hearing regarding elderly specific to help reinforce those programs that work out there, because you're getting information from what's going on with providers and things within the area agency. So that's a great reason for wanting to be a RAC member. That's awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And what particularly I bring, I think, is just some of the experiences that comes from working within DHS. Obviously, every individual's work past and work history is unique. And so then there's a different perspective potentially that can be brought through that. And there are tremendous resources within DHS. They're unfortunately very limited at times to what they can be utilized for, but there are a lot of resources that exist there for individuals who do meet those criteria. So.
Wonderful. Any other members see anything that you would like to learn more about? Presentations, just in general, more of the underrepresented population items, like having a specific speaker from one of the ethnic groups come to talk about events that are going on with them. Like, for instance, in September is the powwow. Monica Snowbird is in charge of this, and I haven't yet, but I'm going to ask her if she can come and speak about that, and we learn more about what's going on there. So that direction, or if there's anything else that RAC members are feeling that you need or questions about, continue an ongoing discussion about it, because you're all important, and your involvement is really important here.
I have a general question. This may be directly more to Jody. In regard, we have applied for we're actively moving into some grant applications, a tedious process that I'm not happy that I got volunteered for. But from the fact of what we can and cannot get specific to the needs in our rural community, if we are going specific for transportation and or assistance for home repairs or developing some type of assisted living here, is that something indirectly outside of providership that we can get funding through or support through the RAC and or Pikes Peak? Because we're not talking directly about providership or ones that are contracted providers for the AAA. In other words, going through some of the current programs that are available.
Are you referring to the specific funding that this stimulus funding package that's going to be coming?
Yeah, because I don't know any other indirectly or directly that's involved, but those seem to be things that have popped up.
Yeah.
And so is that something that, because transportation obviously is not exclusive to COVID problems. Any of the other items I listed are not exclusive to COVID complications. So I guess my question is, yes, can we as non-direct contract providers come to Pikes Peak or the AAA for support for that, in addition to what we're doing with grants?
So right now, the only way to access funding is directly as a contracted provider. We are looking at opportunities for non-contracted providers to be able to access some of the ARPA funding, but that is still a discussion going on. And primarily the challenge right now is we don't know what the restrictions or requirements will be around the ARPA funding. Our hope is to be able to expand beyond our contractors for one-time grants, but there's just know that I'm letting that leak a little bit because we just don't know at this point if we will even be allowed to do that with that funding. So that is something that we would certainly share out if and when the time comes, if we're able to do that, and once we have a process in place. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks, Jody.
And Jody, I guess I have a question, maybe others have it too. What in the world is a non-contracted provider?
So for example, a perfect example is we have our 17 contracted providers who were approved through the technical review subcommittee process to access the Older Americans Act funding. That is the 5.6 million that we were provided this year. And so, for example, just looking at my screen here for providers, I see Jason DeBueno here from Silver Key. I see Cynthia Margiotto with the Pearls program. They are contracted providers. Non-contracted providers are simply a generic term that we might use for anyone who wants to provide services but is not currently under contract with the Area Agency on Aging or PPACG to access our funding.
But wouldn't you generally be looking for new providers?
We always are, and that is why the process during the RFP process is announced far and wide to encourage providers who are not currently with us to submit applications, and that's why we do the training the way that we do, so that organizations have an opportunity to find out more about us before they submit applications. So there is always a need to expand services. That's not going to go away. Based on the information that you shared, for example, is a good reality check of our census data, even though we don't have our newest data yet, confirmed from the Census Bureau and from the 2020 census. We know those numbers are going. Aging is not a condition, it is just a reality. And so we will always be aging, we will always be needing to look at opportunities to expand our services to make sure that people can be have a good quality of life, regardless of what they call, where they call home, and what they how they would like to live out their days. So,
well, going back to, I think I went off track here a little bit. Are there other members that want to talk about? Is there a particular area where you'd like to see more action on a subject, or a particular need that you would like to see addressed?
I might actually suggest something quickly. It just occurred to me, and I'm sorry I haven't mentioned this previously. Maybe the opportunity that when the RFP process is about to move forward, and the statement of sending information out far and wide, a lot of that information, we are the ones that end up conveying it to people that we meet as possible providers. Maybe coming out to local chambers of commerce, actually somebody moving forward with that possibility. More local advertising that's funded outside of our organizations as nonprofits. Just some general ideas. We spend money, we do Bailey Days, we do our chamber meetings, we try to be active in big things that come here. There's a new senior fair coming to Park County through Fair Play. We'll do our senior expo. There's a lot of now with the, as I said, the 9 Health Fair, but maybe some more direct support before the RFP process from the RAC or AAA to put that information out there.
thank you, Chris. I can see Melody taking notes around that. So thank you. We're both
Certainly.
listening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other members have comments?
I would also just throw out, looking at some of the questions that Marilyn has asked the RAC to consider. These will also be really good conversation points as we move into our 4-year plan process. It's only been 2 years, so which means that we're at the midpoint, and I know at the state, with my fellow AAA directors and the state processes, we're already starting to talk about the next 4-year plan, because it is quite involved. It's quite a complicated process to put together, and these are the kind of questions that could actually be used and could be helpful as we move forward with those discussions. So thank you for bringing that forward, Marilyn.
Yes. An ongoing discussion.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
definitely bring it up at any time, or email about a concern or question or something that you find enriching for members that we can move forward with. It's great. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for leading that discussion, Marilyn. And as Marilyn said, these are questions that could be brought to us at any time. And we're certainly would like to hear if you would like to be more involved, just let us know, and I'm sure we'll find a way. And of course, that involvement always allows us to get to know you a little better, know what, and better understand the contributions that you can make. So we'd be happy to hear from everyone. Okay, then we, in terms of our calendar of events, we've got the meeting on August 26th. That would be our next RAC meeting, right? Yeah, I was just trying to think what meeting that's our RAC meeting on August 26th. Our executive committee meeting is on the first Tuesday at 10 a.m. via Zoom. And are there other events? We've got the Monday meeting for the underrepresented populations, right, Marilyn?
Yes, here at our offices here, brown bag lunch at noon, and then discussion after that. Thoughts, ideas about possible recruitment or caregiving, any items or things that you see pertinent to that representation. All the members are welcome to come and see if there's a way you can become involved with that. Plus the lineup of events that's still coming up, not only just for the underrepresented populations, but for other things, senior festivals and whatnot. If you need those sent to you, once again, the calendar of events of those, we can definitely send those out to you to possibility of being involved with participating in those as well.
Other members, any other members have events that you want to let us know about? Rosemary, do you want to turn on your mic?
Okay. So first of all, thanks, Melissa, for presenting on Wishful Lifetime. They are actually going to speak to the Senior Resource Council in December. And I know December sounds like a far way away, but just blink twice and it'll be here, right? And also the Alzheimer's Association is having their karaoke kickoff on August 11th. It's from 6 to 9 at Looney's Comedy Club. And we're really excited because what did we have this 2 years ago? And it was so much fun. There was singing and dancing and food and just friendship. And so this is a great opportunity for everybody to come out and just enjoy yourselves. So hope to see everybody there.
And what is that date and time
That's
again?
August 11th from 6 to 9.
Are there other announcements from other members about events?
This is Chris again from Park County. I do have a quick statement. We have several things that are in the works. We don't have definitive dates. I will send those out to AAA and try to get some more support locally. We had a big one and the RAC supported big time. A lot of people came out, B and Melissa, and they did the Senior Coalition did a nice picnic, and we're glad to see that they're moving forward actively. But I do have a general question, and I don't know again if this is the format. I have a contract job that I'm doing now on Tuesdays. I don't know how long it'll last, so I've missed the last 3 executive committee meetings. Is there any way those are recorded?
We could definitely record them. Yes, we could record them on, yes.
Okay.
We'll
Thank
make sure
you.
that happens, Chris.
Thank you.
Other events? Well, thank you everyone for coming today, either in person or on Zoom. Appreciate all your input and look forward to seeing you next month. With that, I will adjourn our REC meeting today. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you. Have a great week, month.
You too. We miss seeing you in person. If anybody wants to come.
Trying to get down there, hopefully September.
There we go.
I heard applause for the first time the other day. I was like, wow. It was like music.